Hey everybody, Professor Little here. So this is the second video for week one, and I wanted to just take a minute and show you some of the basic things for coding a HTML file. So first of all, you already have your public folder set up, and all lowercase, no spaces. Now the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to declare the doc type declaration, and the browser needs this so it knows which HTML code to look at, basically the rules, what is it supposed to do, etc. So you're going to notice in here that my doc type is in all uppercase letters, and that should be. But then the HTML is in lowercase. And this is the doc type declaration for HTML5. We're going to use this one for the first several weeks of the class, but then we're going to change to some other doc type declarations, and we'll get into some validation and things like that. So we don't really need to worry about that right now because we just want to create a simple file. I think in the previous video I already spoke with you about saving in the public folder, and the name of your file for this exercise is going to be index.html, and that's real important because at the root directory of any folder, if you have a file called index.html, that will be the file that shows up, and we'll talk about that more as we progress through the class. So we've declared our doc type declaration for the browser to know what markup language it's about to receive, and now we're going to contain all of our content in the element called HTML. Now I'm going to put some notes down here below this closing HTML, but you really shouldn't type anything below your closing HTML. I'm just going to do it for the purpose of this video, so we have everything here. So these, the HTML tag that I just created is called a container tag, and basically it holds content. So there's thousands of tags, and HTML is just one of them. And you can tell a container tag because it holds something. So any container tag that is going to hold something, I'm going to open it, and then I'm going to close it. Another example of a container tag is called the head tag. And the head tag actually holds another tag called title. And whenever you type in head, you can't really see within the body of the browser, but what you put in the title shows up on the web browser tab. This is also what is bookmarked in any web browser. I want to talk to you a little bit about nesting tags. So HTML is the parent tag, and in this case head is a child of parent because head is inside. And I'm in an ASCII editor, recall, so I can hit enter and organize my code how I want. Like, this is a good organization right here because it's very easy to read. It sees what tags are inside the other ones, etc. Now we have one more tag we're going to do, which is the body tag. The body tag holds all of the content of your page, and the body opening tag will always follow the closing head tag. There will never be an exception to that. So, and then this is also true, the body closing tag will always be the closing tag right next to the closing HTML tag. So getting in good habits is very important, and this that you're looking at right now is the basic structure of any HTML document. So we're going to save this so we can take a look at the work that has been done so far, and then I'm going to close it so you can actually see, like, how do you actually get to look at your page and then go back and work on the code a little bit more. So when I open my public_HTML, I see my index file, and when I open that up, it's going to open my browser for me. But what you're going to also notice is there's nothing within the main area of the page, and that's because that's the body. So whatever you put in body is what's going to go in this area here of the browser window. But you are going to also notice that the information I put in title is here in the tab of my browser. And if I go to bookmark this, whatever I put in that title tag will also be the name of my bookmark. So it's important to be descriptive in your bookmarks. This is not a very good descriptive bookmark or title tag, but it gives you the idea of what that does. Now what I want to do is I want to open my index page back so I can work with my coding again. So what I can do to accomplish that is go back to my ASCII editor, in my case Notepad, and I can get my index page visible and just drag and drop that right into Notepad so I can continue coding. So as you progress through your assignment, you're going to code a little bit, and then you're going to save, Control S, and then you're going to go over to the browser and make sure you select the browser, and you're going to hit F5 to refresh. So throughout all of your coding, you're going to, kind of cascade your windows. You'll have Notepad open and then your browser open. So code, save, go over to the browser, refresh, and this process will just continue until you're finished coding your page. So I'm going to add another element called a heading tag, and heading tags have some predefined formatting in them already. Back in the day before cascading style sheets, all we had to get pages on the web was the HTML, and then later came CSS, which allowed us a lot of flexibility and a lot of possibilities on formatting and adding color and just making our pages look a lot nicer. Some tags already have predefined formatting. The H tag is already bold, and it already has a predefined font as far as how large the text will be. So for this H1, we're going to put CSW 320, and then I want you to put your first name, last initial, homepage. Now, you are going to include your name on assignments, but remember these are going on the web, so you're not going to use your last name on any assignments that you submit that are going to go onto the web. So in this case, you're just putting your first name, last initial. So again, code, Control S to save, go over to your browser and hit your function 5 key to refresh. And so you're going to just continue this process until you have your first page. So I could add another paragraph, and remember, when you open a tag, close it right away so you don't forget. And I would like you guys to go ahead and type a little introduction, because this is going to be your home page, and this will go on the internet. So another student visiting your page, it would be nice for them to know a little bit about you. Now, one last thing I want to talk with you guys about is the HTML syntax. Now remember, I'm just kind of typing some notes here in Notepad with my HTML file, but normally I wouldn't do that. So these are just really notes, and I'm going to delete them before I save my HTML file. So they're just intended for you. So the HTML, this is called, the way we have to type things is called the HTML syntax. And it goes like this. First you have your element, and then you put a space, and then you have an attribute. And an attribute is something that you add to an element to make your element function a certain way. I want the color of the text to be red, I want to center it, I want to make the font a different size, etc. So all code, regardless of what kind of code, HTML markup language, CSS, the program languages, Java or C++ or JavaScript, any of those, they all have a very specific syntax that they have to follow, and a syntax is just a big word for how do I have to write the instruction. So the HTML syntax is, again, the element, and then I put a space after the element, and then an attribute. Always following my attribute, I have an equal sign, and then quotation marks, and within the quotation marks I have the value that I want. Now, of course, if I have a standalone tag, or excuse me, if I have a container tag, I'm going to go ahead and close that. So in this case right here, I'm just going to write, this is an example. Remember, we're outside of the scope of coding. These are just some notes I'm putting here for you. Okay, so I want to give you an example of the H1. So H1 is my element, my attribute. I'm going to use the style attribute, and I want to actually define that the color of my text is going to be red. Now, normally we would use what are called hexadecimal color references, but this is just a quick little illustration, so you can see what happens here. So again, this is the way the syntax works, and this is an example of the syntax. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of the notes, and I'm going to go ahead and put that concept into place. So I'm going to style this H1, and I'm going to say that I want the color to be red, and that is the instruction to make text a certain color. So Control S to save, go over to your browser, F5 to refresh, and that has put that there. Now I can do multiple attributes, so I'm going to add one more attribute to this H1 element, and I can have as many as I want. The only rule is I have to separate them by a space. So you're going to see that this is my first attribute, the equal sign, quotation, there's my value, quotation. So now I'm going to put a space because I'm adding another attribute. And I'm going to actually use a retired attribute because it's just easy for you to see, but it's not one that I would use because the proper method would be using CSS instead. But I want to just use this as an example, and that's the align attribute. I'm going to say align equals center, there's my quotations, there's my value, there's my equals, and this is the actual attribute. So Control S to save. You can Alt-Tab to your other window, and F5 to refresh, and you will see that your H1 centered. So what I would like you guys to do is, spend a little bit of time and play around with the coding. I would like you to write an introduction about yourself, use the heading tags, use the H1 for heading, so kind of make this like you would make a word processing file for formatting. Maybe tell me your educational background and a little bit of a little introduction about yourself, and then what your educational goals are. So and then I'll put a Dropbox in the D2L where you can just upload this, so I can take a look at your code to make sure that your coding techniques are correct. So I prefer, if possible, I know it's really late in the week because we had a busy week getting started, and I was late getting this second video up. I had a doctor's appointment yesterday. I couldn't get this up into the D2L, but if you can get this up just as soon as possible, then I can take a look at your code and correct any incorrect methods that you have on that. All right, well, happy week 1, and I hope you guys are enjoying the class so far. And remember, please, please, please get your book by Monday. All right, bye-bye.